Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Movie Bucket here on Screen Stealers. Hope you grabbed your popcorn, your soft drink. I grabbed a soft drink, and maybe even a soft pretzel. It's time to talk about another movie. I'm Brooke, and that's what you got.
Period.
Yeah.
And hi, I am River, and my body is allergic to dresses.
Fucking
Yeah, that's fair. And hola, I am Eduardo, and I'm not your typical Kenyan girl. I am a Mexican man.
Fair. Well, I'm David Healy, and I'm back here. I guess we're all just stuck together like dogs.
Yay!
Yes, special, extra special guest. Thank you for being back. Yes.
David has now officially passed Lana with the number of episodes you have appeared on. Congratulations.
Well done.
So,
Yeah.
as part of our Pride Month coverage, we are talking about today Rafiki from 2018. Ostensibly a group choice, but one could really argue this is a David choice. Rafiki, starring a bunch of actors whose names I don't want to mispronounce terribly, so I'm going to do my best. Samantha Mugatsia, Sheila Munyiva, Neville Misati, Nini Wacera, Jimmi Gathu. I'm trying my best. I really hope. If you are someone from Kenya or any African adjacent country with similar last names, I am so sorry. But among many others. And it is a film about lesbians.
Love it.
Yay!
Period. Yes.
We love lesbians.
And 2 black lesbians? Yes. I love it. Love it.
Mhm.
Yes. We need more POC queer representation, so I'm happy that we have it.
Yes.
So, David, when we were doing this for March Madness, this was on your March Madness bracket. Tell the people why you had it there, and that's also why it ultimately ended up on our list for this year too. So, talk about it a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, so I presented this on my March Madness. It had been over 5 years since I watched it. I had only seen it once. And it's funny because I remember when I was talking about this movie and why we should view it, I was like, oh, it's like a great example of like queer joy. And while we do get that there's actually a lot more queer trauma than I remembered. I think I had just been hyper fixated on the clear chemistry between the two leads that kind of overpowered any like negative gay bashing that we got in this film. But yeah, I wanted something mostly positive, and I still do think it really focuses on the positive, especially since Kenya is like a place where homosexuality is banned. Like, you would think there would be much more negativity throughout the film than there actually is. But yeah, I stand by the fact that I am a clear shipper of Kenna and Zeke, and I cannot wait to talk about their blooming romance.
Yeah, I do want to fight with you, David, because you have hyped this movie so much as queer joy, and I was like, this is gonna be great. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to watch this beautiful, happy movie. And then people started calling each other slurs, and then like so much shit happened, and I was like, I'm going to find David, and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Like, whenever I see him next, I will destroy him. So how dare you?
But did you smile a lot? Like, I smiled so much throughout this film.
But I think I felt more anger throughout this entire movie than I felt joy. I will say that. So,
Yeah.
we have business to attend to.
You are right. I see. And you know,
I mean, look, Eduardo was
doesn't
here
really.
to talk shit and get hit. It's like those of you who know.
Yeah, come on.
And it doesn't really help that we just came
quickly.
off of a like actual really happy ending and like queer joy movie. So in comparison, yeah.
Yeah.
See, okay, so it's really interesting to me because out of the 3 movies that we have covered this month, right? I to this point, I would argue that none of them have been what I would consider queer joy. Like a lot of them have just been like, no,
they're rare.
That's
it's
not
rare.
to say I'm a cheerleader and the way he looks don't end in a very good and happy place, right? But like, maybe we just need a good happy romance movie for gay people. We haven't had that, I don't think, that I can remember. Like, I want to find the most sappy, saccharine, sweet gay movie on the planet that has nothing to do with coming out, that has nothing to do with homophobia, that is just a gay romance movie. Do those movies exist? That is the real question. Because, spoiler alert, next week, the movie we're talking about, she ain't getting there either. So,
not joyful at all.
So, next year,
next year we'll find something that's joyful. Hopefully.
We'll keep looking for it.
Yeah.
That's not to say, again, that's not to say these 3 movies that we've covered at this point haven't had joyful elements and like joyful outcomes even. But like the ending of this movie, I mean, well, not that like the last 5 minutes, but the ending of the main story of the movie is just a big old downer. Like it's a massive downer. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like I actually think it's very realistic, and as unfortunate and sad as it is, I think it actually matters a lot. But when I was like, the ending made me really happy. Like the last like 3 or 4 minutes of the movie, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is a great way for this to end. But by the time I'm there, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's like walking through hell at the end, and at the end they just give you like a piece of pizza, and you're like, I guess I'm happy. But like, I just went through hell, so like, can you give me some more, please? At least
it's the cake at the end of Portal. The cake is a lie. They think, they think that, even if the cake was real, right? Even if the cake was a real thing, right? It's like, oh, so you just made me go through all of these death traps, and you're giving me a cake.
How dare you?
How dare you?
The disrespect.
But what's funny though is you said it's like probably a very realistic ending with, well, not the end, but the prelude to the end. But like, I don't know what life is like in Kenya, but if this were an American film with a similar thing, it would not feel realistic to me, because there's such a like double standard between homosexual relationships between men and homosexual relationships between women here. And I'm sure with the laws that we have in Kenya, maybe that's a realistic thing, but I cannot imagine 2 queer women getting treated the way that these 2 women get treated in the United States. I'm not sure how it would be in Brazil or Mexico, but that part is wild.
I mean, yeah, and I think something that I have to remember too, and this is something that I wanted to bring up during this video. I think now's a good time. I'm just going to speak for myself and from my personal perspective, and honestly, just from what I hear from news coverage too. Most people that I know in the United States, when we're talking about homophobia in other countries, it is centered around one location, the Middle East, right? That's pretty much where we talk about it for the most part, right? We don't really talk about places outside of that, at least that I am around and near, because when we think about it, it's like, oh, people get killed for being gay in the Middle East, which is true. In some countries, that is true. But we don't really talk about the places where it's like illegal, where it's just like still societally bad. For example, Kenya. We don't talk about it because, one, not very many people in the United States like have concerns about it, because it's not, well, at least it's not the Middle East. You know, it is kind of the argument that I feel like people would probably propose to that. It's not an experience that we have to really go through, because travel from the US to Kenya, I would imagine, isn't very high. So like, we are so centered around our own bubble that it can be really hard to imagine ourselves in that situation, in that country, because we've never had anything like it around us. Which is also why I was really happy that we were covering this, because we've now had 3 different movies this month with 3 different countries having their own different, worldviews on gay people. And I think that's really cool. And I think it shows a lot of changing in society, because even the movie that we're covering next week, it's still in the US, but it's a very different time period from But I'm a Cheerleader. So I think that's even going to give us more of a perspective. And that's one of the things I was really happy about.
They're so different.
So different. And that's why I'm really happy about our slate this month, was that it was showing queer people from different time periods, different countries.
Different
granted,
ages.
Did we hang a little bit heavy on just the gays and lesbians this month? Maybe. Yeah. But, we live and we learn, and we have, more time to add more films as we go on. So there you go.
It does make me wish I
didn't
pushed,
realize that.
Yeah. I noticed it, and I wish I had pushed harder for Tangerine, because that's a trans film, and it's funny, and it actually is pretty happy throughout. Like, you would think the trans people have the hardest situation, but it's just so good. I mean, it would have been a perfect one for this slot, but I still wanted to talk about Rafiki, so I didn't push that hard.
I just wanted to quickly mention before we get into the film, really, in the perspective of different countries and everything like that. Being from Brazil, like for me, we're still the #1 country that kills trans people. So like, it's very real, and that is with us having a law that makes transphobia and homophobia and racism illegal. But is it enforced? You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes it depends. It really, so yeah, it's, but at the same time, we also have like one of, if not the biggest, like pride parade in the world. Mm-hmm. Like one of the, if not the one, like one of the biggest ones, and like simultaneously, you know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. We kind of have 2 different realities, and it's, I don't know. It's
and that's the thing I really wanted to bring up is, even in, let's just say in the US too, different parts of the US are going to treat gay people very differently.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's something that's going to happen in Brazil too, where like certain areas.
Yeah. When a country is that big, yes, it's.
Yeah. Because like if you live in, let's say, California, you're probably going to be fine. Like, let's just be honest, probably statistically.
Depending on the neighborhood,
even there, it like depends on the part of like Northern California, maybe not.
Okay, let's put it this way: if you live in Delaware, which is a very blue state, you're probably doing fine. Okay, and it's a small state. There's not much cultural differences in Delaware. Versus if you live in like Mississippi, it's probably going to be significantly
it's
harder.
Higher risk, yes. Like there's risk everywhere, but there are places that it's just much higher. Yeah.
And that was going to what I was going to say too, is we have to think about the fact that there are almost 300 countries in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, if not more, I'm not up to date, honestly, but there's a lot of countries in the world, right? Yeah. And each country is going to have its own unique societal issues for queer people. They may match other countries in their area, and they may have similarities. But even then, when you have to think about enforcement, when you have to think about like safe areas, there's a lot of differences that happen throughout the world for these populations. For our group, I mean, every single person on this podcast is queer in some form or fashion. So we have a very unique perspective based on where the 4 of us have grown up, where we're from, where we live now.
How we present. We present, that's a factor. Yeah.
And when we talk about a movie like Rafiki, that was why I was really excited to cover this, because I wanted to see what that was like. And I don't know. I've never been to Kenya. I've never grown up as a lesbian in Kenya, right? I've never grown up as a lesbian, but I've definitely never grown up as a lesbian in Kenya, right? And
you are not your typical Kenyan girl.
I am not your typical Kenyan girl, exactly, right? So I wanted to see that, and it was really cool getting to experience that and see this movie in a way that, a movie like But I'm a Cheerleader, as much as I like it and I find it funny, and honestly, I like it more than this movie, I'll just say that. It's an experience that I can at least somewhat, imagine, you know, growing up in a slightly more conservative family, you know, like there are things that are relevant to my experience just based off of where the movie is and what it does. So, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. It's understandable. I will say specifically, talking about Mexico, since we talked about Brazil and the United States, Mexico is very, I guess, kind of similar to Brazil here, because Mexico is one of the countries that has the most queer people in it in the world. And yet it is a country that is like, you know, very Christian, very Catholic, very like God-fearing. So it is yet, it's very, very weird. Half of the population will be very positive towards you and be supportive of you, but then you will always run the risk, no matter where you are, of if you are holding hands with your partner, that they will scream a slur out to you, like while you're walking down the street. It's happened to me before. It's happened to friends of mine. It's just, you know, it's always going to be tough here. Like you're always at risk here. You're never 100% safe, no matter how like liberal the place is. Like even when you're in Mexico City, where there's like the most queer people, you will always find a homophobe that will scream out of your window to call you the F slur. Like that's always going to happen. You're going to suffer some homophobia.
The M slur?
Yeah, the M slur, I guess, here. But
Right.
yeah, you will suffer homophobia if you live in Mexico for long enough and you are in a queer relationship. At some point, someone will call you a slur. That's just the way it's going to happen. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world in which it's not an if, it's a when. So that sucks specifically. But I am glad that the younger generations of my generations and younger are becoming nicer and nicer. They're more open as time goes on. So yeah, that's Mexico for y'all.
Something else that is just a fun fact is like one of our biggest and most listened to artists is a drag queen as well. Like that's it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah.
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 And it's also
sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say it's also crazy here in Mexico because conservative people will love drag queens, but then call you a slur while you're walking down the street. So it's like, what's going on? So you hired a drag queen to sing at your wedding, but then I'm walking down the street with my boyfriend and you're calling me a slur. What is going on here?
Right. This kind of plays into something with my viewing experience of this film. I think the first time I watched it, I was just so focused on the two main characters. But this time I paid specific attention to all the other characters around them and how they interacted and how they viewed specifically Kenna, because I am convinced that pretty much everybody, all of her friends, her family, the people at the bar or whatever, all of them, I believe, know that Kenna is a lesbian. I think they all see that, but I think most of them are in denial because all of these characters mostly care about how does your lesbianism affect me. Yeah. And you get that throughout the film, and very few people really address it until they have to. What's funny though is the very opening part when we see Kenna walking up to see Blackstar, and Induta, she walks out, and you could tell she has immediate disdain for Kenna. And what does she do? Did you all notice what she did as she walked by her down the stairs? She takes her coat and just puts it close together to hide her chest, as if Kenna's going to be checking her out. And I'm like, look, girl, nobody's looking at all that. So yeah, and like, it's just immediately I was getting annoyed with her. And it continues on with other characters throughout the film as they're forced to confront what they already know.
Yeah. Like Mama Team specifically in this movie bothers me so much throughout this movie, because she obviously is the one, her and I forget her name, you just mentioned her.
Is it her daughter? The younger girl, the daughter.
Yeah, Nduta, her and Mama Atim, you can very clearly tell that they both know, right? It's very obvious that they both know that Kenna is a lesbian. And they're clearly talking shit about her constantly. And they're talking shit about everyone. And I know women like this, and that's what bothers me the most. I know women like this, and they're so annoying. They're genuinely so annoying because they're not the kind of women that just like to gossip. They're the kind of women that like to destroy your life and speculate.
Because like gossip is like you sharing information that you know or stuff that you've heard, you've seen. Yeah. And speculating is like you add to it. Yeah.
Add to the fire and you add things that you don't even know if they're true, and then they spread like wildfire to become truths. So just these two characters specifically, a lot of characters bothered me in this movie, but Mama Team and Nduta bothered me the most, I think, throughout this entire movie, because the hatred that they have for Kenna is wild and stupid for me. Like, it's insane how much disdain they have for her for absolutely no reason at all.
Because she's the sweetest person.
She's like, so nice.
The daughter of, I forgot her name, the younger girl. Yes. So she was hooking up with Blackstar in the beginning, right? And then I'm imagining that she was also really pissed that like he clearly also liked Kenna and like went after her. So she was also like pissed because of that as well. And like kind of like, how dare you go after the lesbian, you know what I mean? Like when you're hooking up with me, and that kind of like how, you know.
Yeah.
That also pisses me off. And also one thing that I think makes it work, like can maybe added to it, is the fact that Kenna's parents are divorced, and her dad is having a baby with another woman, like pretty close to apparently when they got divorced. They don't really say, but it seems like it's like a pretty, you know, close in time. So probably they already are speculating that like maybe because there's no father in the home, she's a lesbian, like, you know what I mean? Like all of the things that can be added on top because of things that are not her fault at all. You know what I mean? Not that anything is, or the way she looks or whatever, like it doesn't really matter, but like having to deal with that as well. And like she's also clearly between her parents. They're kind of like like tugging war, you know, like, did he ask about me, whatever, like that, using her as like a what do you call it, like a
communication tool.
Yeah, exactly. Like not facing each other, but like using her for that as well. So like you said, like you left in your review, like she can't catch a break. Oh my god, like everyone.
Yeah, that was my review.
It's also like her friend Blackstar, like the one person that like seems to kind of care for her, also like gets mad and is like, oh, when she says no, suddenly it's a problem.
Literally only her father has her back. Literally no one else.
Literally.
And it's so fucked. For those of you that don't know and don't follow me on Letterboxd, it's the same username that I have everywhere else. But I literally wrote, can my girl Kenna catch a fucking break? Oh my god. Because literally everyone just abandons her in the blink of an eye. And it's just so fucked how like quickly people turn on her just based on the fact that she is having a relationship with Siki. Like it just, in my brain, it doesn't comprehend the amount of hatred that you have to have for gay people for you to treat a person like this. Genuinely, like I don't know.
When you're in a hospital bed and she's trying to fucking help you,
and
you're like, don't touch me. Really? The nerve.
Also, like you said, David, who would want to touch that? I don't want to get near you. Like, hello? Get the fuck away. I don't want to be in the room with you, but I'm forced to. This is my fucking job. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How dare you?
Yeah, it was really interesting to think about, you know, okay, I'm going to pull it back a little bit more. When I think about, you know, we're talking about how people were like, oh yeah, Kenna's probably a lesbian, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder how much that has to do with just her overall general appearance. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, if you were to go based on like a Western stereotypes, again, I am not familiar if this is a Kenyan stereotype as well, or even just, you know, whatever. But, you know, like the traditionally more, I'm just going to use the term here, butch appearance is, you know, typically considered.
In hobbies as well, like playing soccer and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I wonder how much that has to play within that situation. Versus when you look at Ziki, she's like long, colorful hair.
Lipstick lesbian.
Femme.
Yeah.
Femme.
Just femme. Yeah, super femme.
Yeah. And
she's puss. Yes. Exactly.
Feeling like pussy, feeling like cunt.
As
like
she
pussy,
should.
Like
exactly.
For those of you who don't know, again, we are all very gay. Can
you tell?
Can you tell?
Yeah, can you tell?
David, I know you're. I'm not going to fan this because I know you don't have yours over there with you right now.
Yeah, it's over there.
But one thing I wanted to bring up specifically though was it's really interesting how the people around both of them react after things go south, after they get beat up and are in jail. Question mark.
I think they seem to be like in the last year of high school. What seems to be like before they get to college. That's what it seems, because they never say exactly, but from context clues and like they're taking a test and like she's trying to be a doctor or whatever. Like, so like it seems like that's what it is. So they might be like 17, 18 ish.
So
right?
That would be.
But when they're sitting on that bench in the police station, right? And Zeke's father comes into the station, and he backhanded her, and like,
oh my god!
And this is after like one side of her face is already bruised and cut up, and like she's not in the best physical appearance right now, based on what just happened to her and Kenna. So when you're seeing that happen, I was like, oh shit, they really didn't know, did they? Right? And it's just something that, it's the difference.
It seems like her mom kind of had a feeling before, because I'm sorry to cut you off, just quickly, because in later scenes with her mom, it seemed to imply that her mom had already kind of like worried about that. But,
I have a theory.
But that, no. Yeah. Well,
we'll get to that. Hold on.
We'll get to that.
Okay. Go ahead, David.
Oh, my theory. I think that Zeke had a different relationship pretty recently.
See, and I was going to say, is Elizabeth, was that her ex, the girl that hurt Kenna?
I think they had something going on, because I think she was mad at Kenna for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she beat her up.
Yeah.
Because you know what, when in that scene, because one of the things that I wrote in my notes is Elizabeth Nikki's ex or friend? Because it can be like a best friend jealousy of like you're coming on to my best friend and you're turning her gay, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like that. It could have been that, or it could have been how dare she was jealous for a different.
How dare you take my?
I think they experimented.
They don't really make it clear, but I agree with you. I think it can be either.
My headcanon is that Elizabeth is Zeke's ex, but they just ended their relationship pretty recently, but in a good way. And Elizabeth probably still has feelings for Zeke, and that's why she got mad.
And maybe it was like something that maybe Zeke's mom kind of caught, and she was like, okay, you know what? Once is enough. I break it up and settle down and whatever. Or like maybe until you leave the house, whatever. Like maybe she was a little more understanding because she seemed to be more than the father. And so maybe that, I don't know. But it seems like her mom kind of knew more and kind of already knew some things. And that's why, when it happened the second time, that's why they took such extreme measures, maybe because they gave her a way out or whatever. Like she was caught in public. Maybe the first time it was just the mom saw. So.
Right. It's funny because I think both of the moms knew, but I think with Kenna's
we're in denial.
Yeah, Kenna's mom. It's really interesting because you see, shortly after Kenna and Zeke meet, she's coming in. She's super happy. She's high on life. She's talking about her new friend, and her mom's like, "Oh yes, I would love to meet your new friend Zeke, but something's changed about you. Is it a boy?" It almost felt like please tell me that what I'm thinking is not true. Please tell me what I want to hear, which is so my parents coded. My parents are still living in denial about me and my sister, and they keep saying, when are you going to get married and have grandchildren?
It's very Blanche with her brother. Like, I know you're gay, but do you have to marry a man? Like, okay, girl, yes. Like,
yes, that's how this works. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mm.
But also the mom was happy because it was she said like because Ziki was from a good family, so like being friends with her, if it was just that, would be like a good thing for her or whatever, like good connection.
Well, we also have to unpack the fact that their dads are running against each other in an election,
right?
Which has its own other can of worms here. That was okay. I'm sorry, but this was so red, white, and royal blue coded to me.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't even think about that.
That's a great movie, by the way. It is cheesy as hell, but you know what? I like cheesy gay romance existing, so sue me. And the sequel is coming out soon? Question mark?
Ish, yeah.
Red, White, and Royal Wedding.
Red, White, and Royal Wedding. Yes, that is correct. So can't wait for that. But no, the second it was like, oh, he's running against me for this. I was like, okay, clocked.
See, I thought of Romeo and Juliet.
Yes, that was my first thought too. Yeah,
that makes sense. Actually.
But no, I like the conversation that Kenna has with her dad about that. Of like, do you understand the implications that this could have? And this is before he even knows that they're dating. This is just them hanging out with each other. Of you hanging out with the man I am running against, like his daughter. Do you know how much that could hurt me if people knew about that? It was a very frank conversation, and I'm happy that they didn't ignore that, and it wasn't just him being okay with the whole situation, because he is right. Them hanging out could affect him politically, but at the same time, he doesn't know the full circumstances at the time. So I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say he's like a terrible person for saying this. Yeah. But it was just rather interesting, and I appreciated the fact that conversation happened in a way that was compelling.
Yeah,
I agree, but I just wanted to add, because one of the things that I will say that were flawed in this movie, or that were lacking in this movie for me, was a lot of open questions, and one of them to me that kind of made it lack in the story and the plot, and it made it harder for me to care about the characters, right? Personally. And to me, one thing was, I think it would be important to know why it was so important for Kenna's dad to win this election. Because he said something about the community counting on him, whatever, but why? This is not just with him, but one of the things for me is the motivation of the characters. To me, I didn't really, even with the main characters, 30 minutes in, I was like, I don't know who they really are. The only thing I know about Ziki is that about their dads, they're running whatever, and that she likes to dance and she likes bright colors, whatever. And then what I know about Kenna is that her parents are divorced. She plays soccer. She's friends with the boys, and she wants to be a nurse. But also, why do they like each other as well? When they get, I think the actresses have chemistry, but the characters got together. There was no buildup. I didn't really connect. I didn't feel their romance. I barely cared about them individually to be able to care about them getting together. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was really cute when they did, and they had great moments and everything, but I just I never really felt engaged fully and interested in the characters until they were fully wronged. You know what I mean? But when it was just I couldn't care about, their first kiss did nothing for me. I was just okay, sure. Good for them. It's cute, whatever. But it never really hit I was expecting.
Yeah.
Can I add on to that real quick? I know you want to respond, Eduardo. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I agree for the most part. I do think that they are kind of a little bit blank slatey. throughout the film. Even I'll just say that they do feel a little underdeveloped in terms of their individual personalities to make me want to care about them both independently of each other than caring about them as a couple, right? I'm not going to say that, oh, I want them to be like, they deserve the worst. No, they don't deserve the worst. Everyone deserves to be happy and be fulfilled.
Just the fact that it's a lesbian couple, I'm rooting for them, but like,
okay, here's the thing. They are two people who do virtually nothing wrong in this film, and therefore I am not actively rooting against them in any way, right? But beyond the fact that they are in a relationship that has problems with it existing, it was harder for me to engage with them as a couple because I didn't necessarily feel the characters had the same chemistry that the actresses did.
Yes.
With one exception, and I want to talk about my absolute favorite scene in this entire movie, okay? Because it is scored by, in my opinion, the single best song we have had in any film we have covered this year, and I will stand by that, which is the montage scene with them like going on these couple of dates together to the song Ignited. That was so great, and it was so lovely. Very minimal dialogue. The song was mostly doing the work. And I thought it was perfect. It was a great use of a song in a movie. I love when we have and it was an original song made for this film. And it's on the film soundtrack. So there you go. It was just so great. It is single-handedly made me invested in them as a couple. As we were getting towards the back end, because even after that, there's that little bit of like, okay, I can tell you two care about each other, but why? Why do you care about each other? And that is still a problem I have with this by the end of the movie. I still don't really get that, like why the two of them are so in touch with each other. But you can see that.
Why not?
I believe it. That's the thing. They sell it. I believe it, but I don't. I don't see. I don't within the story.
I mean, isn't attraction enough?
Okay, yes.
For an asexual person, no. Sorry, no.
Okay, attraction is enough in terms of the two of them like pursuing each other, right?
Like being physical.
I find you attractive, you find me attractive. Let's see if there's chemistry here. I want to see where the chemistry goes once their chemistry is there. Why the chemistry is lingering, and I didn't really feel that.
Okay, can I defend it a bit then?
As soon as I'm done, because I want to finish praising this one segment though. But this one number single-handedly made me believe that they actually did feel those emotions. And to me, maybe I'm not seeing the whole story. I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that. Now you may. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, the reason that I felt like they work so well together is because they're very opposite. They're opposite in the way they look, in the way they act, in how loose or not loose they are. And I think that's what was really intriguing. Just like seeing them kind of pull something out of each other, especially Zeke was really loosening up Kenna, who's really like, Kenna is so romantic, does like romantic gestures. The whole like candlelight in the van was just so sweet. Like you can tell what kind of love languages she has. And Zeke is so receptive to that, but also is like somebody who's really free and like, I want to hold your hand in public. I want to hold your hand in church, which we can talk about that and whose side we were on there.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But just like seeing the push and pull with their chemistry really works for me. And I think that's what kind of gave me like heart eyes with this movie and how I remembered it, is just because I felt like their chemistry is so palpable, even if it just starts from like physical attraction. Like it just brings me a lot of joy. I kept smiling every time they were on a date, or even when Zeke's like, I want to go on a proper date with you now. Like, just such sweet little things. And I believe their romance. Like if you told me that they were dating after this production, I'd be like, yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't they? They're perfect together. So I don't know why it didn't work for you all, but for me, I fully like that is the selling point for me, is their chemistry and their relationship being super believable to me.
Yeah.
One of the things that I will say, because I still feel the same way, but one of the moments that I will say that I loved between them because like I said, I believe because the actresses sold the romance, I believe that they like each other on screen, but with the storyline, I couldn't understand why. I'm like, what? But anyway, besides that, I loved Zeke pushing Kenna's confidence and being like, why do you want to be a nurse? You're so like, you could be a doctor. Like, you're smart. You should do like encouraging her to dream bigger and like giving her more confidence. I thought that was really sweet. I really loved that moment. That was like my favorite moment between them as a couple. So yeah, but everything else I still kind of feel the same way. Not that it didn't work at all, but like it was lacking for me.
Yeah. What I will say for me, I think I land somewhere between both of you, like both of these opposites. Follow me on this journey. I don't know if any of you like read fanfiction or like are on AO3, but if you are a fan of AO3, you probably have read like a sort of fanfiction where the characters get together like in chapter 2. And after that, they just remain together. And it felt very much like that to me. Like it was immediate connection and immediate starting to date. And, you know, I like my romance movies or stories to have a little more of a slow burn. So I did have a little bit of an issue with that.
Will they, won't they?
Yeah, a little bit of will they, won't they. I like that a little bit more. It feels more like a big payoff when they eventually do like kiss and reveal like, oh, I have feelings for you, whatever. And here there wasn't that, but it was still fine. I do agree with both Brooke and River when they say that I do think that the actors have more chemistry than the actual characters had in the movie. But I will say I didn't feel the need to have a reason to root for them. I just like saw what I saw and I was like, yeah, I have no reason to just like question their love for each other. I have no reason to be like, well, why do they love each other? I'm just like, yeah, they clearly like each other. They clearly have chemistry. I see no reason why, like, I have no reason to question it right now. So I am happy with what I'm seeing. I'm happy with the information that I'm getting. I don't need any more at this moment in time. So as I said, I think I fall somewhere in the middle between the two because I don't have the same issue as to like, I needed to know why they like each other. But at the same time, I do understand that like the actors have more chemistry than the actual characters themselves have.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about the hand-holding part, though,
yes,
because I am curious how you all felt about that. For me, like as somebody who is not open with my family about my sexuality, I would be incredibly uncomfortable in Kenna's situation. I don't care if nobody's watching. I do think it's inappropriate, especially if I tell you it's inappropriate. We both have to agree for this to be okay. And if one of us doesn't agree, if it's me or you, then don't do it. So I absolutely understood Kenna's frustration in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I agreed with Kenna specifically as well. Yeah, it just when you are surrounded by family, especially when you are not out to that. It is a very risky move to be holding hands with your girlfriend, right? So you know you don't want to. Yeah, in church.
While the pastor is talking about the sin of homosexuality, like
okay. I mean, we're bearing the lead here. It is illegal in their country. I'm sorry. Okay, this has nothing. Okay, I'm gonna
because by holding her hand, you're putting her in danger without her consent.
We're going to pause the entire conversation right here. You are actively putting her in danger in a situation where, one, you don't know how every single person in this congregation feels. I would wager that because you're at a religious event, that a decent chunk of them, at minimum, are anti-gay, one. And two, on top of that, you don't even need a decent chunk of them. You need one person in that entire congregation to see you, clock the T, and then immediately report you both to the police, and you will be arrested. Or in this movie, get beat the crap out of you by an anti-gay mob, which, happened. So maybe, just maybe, we need to not do that.
Yeah.
And then also when Kenna brought it up and when she said that, like, then Zeke went to the extreme of like, oh, so I can't show you how I feel. Oh, so I can't. It's kind of like a parent when you say something that they did wrong and they're like, oh, so I'm the worst parent.
So worst parent ever.
Oh my God. It's like, okay, girl, that's not what I said. But sure.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I think. Sorry. I think Ziki's reaction in this moment almost comes from a place of like straight passing privilege, where it's not something she has to worry about every day. Meanwhile, Kenna, who like it's a very loose secret, or like a loosely held secret that she's a lesbian, like she probably has to worry about people picking up on it at any given moment. So Ziki could probably do that with her girlfriends and nobody would care.
Yeah.
And also, it's very clear that Ziki comes from a more privileged family. So, like, maybe she wouldn't, like, have as rough as consequences as if she did get caught. Because, like, she did get caught, and then her parents were going to send her to London, like, so they have enough money to do that. Also, at least, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
Can I talk about that for a second? The fact that you found your daughter, you find your lesbian daughter having a lesbian relationship with your political opponent, and you say, well, I'm going to send you out to London, a place where you can be freely gay and no one can, to this liberal city where no one is going to judge you. That's going to be your punishment. You're going to go to London, a liberal city where you can be a lesbian wherever you like and however you like, and no one's going to judge you. Like, hello? Like, are her parents dumb? I think they are, I guess. Like, hello? What's going on here?
I think it was more, I don't want you to be my problem here.
I guess so, yeah.
Like, if you're going to be gay in London. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess so. But, like, the idea of, like, someone being like, okay, your punishment for being gay is I'm going to send you to a liberal city where you can be gayer. Like, that's crazy to me.
I think maybe the idea of that was more of, I don't want you to be gay here. I don't care if you're gay anywhere else. Just not here.
So, yeah.
And I think, well, I mean, okay, I'm gonna tackle something that I think is a little bit hard to tackle in this format, but I think it is important, right? There is that thing that happens in a lot of times where you have a homophobic parent who thinks that the other person in a queer couple is corrupting their child, right? As someone who lived through this and has experienced this exact thing happening to them in real life. Minus the moving part, but like the idea of you're corrupting my kid thing, we see that happen to Ziki in this movie, right? We see her dad smack her and then tell Kenna to stay away from his daughter, right? Now, granted, that has a lot of different implications. It could just be, I don't want you near my child because you're a lesbian and I don't want the two of you dating.
I have a theory.
It could also be, you're turning my daughter gay and I don't want you near that. So since I can't make you leave, I'm going to send my daughter somewhere else and take her out of this situation because I still have control over her. And I mean, he's not wrong in that, so. not the corruption part, but in the idea of I have this thing that I can do to change this situation. He does have that right. Yeah. Does it make everything else around that situation correct? Absolutely not. But
yeah.
And one of the things that I think as well for parents that are like this, of like, oh, you're turning my child gay, is because they believe that people can choose to be gay. And so if they believe their child can choose to be gay and they are choosing to do that, it's their fault. So if they admit that their child is gay, it's they did something wrong. So it must be someone else that is doing this to my child and not something that I did wrong or didn't do or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they believe that. And so I think that may be part of it as well, of like, no, not my daughter. You know what I mean? Because then that means that I failed as a dad if my daughter is gay.
Yeah, we have been talking about Ziki's consequences, but could we also talk about how Kenna literally got an exorcism because her mother thought that there was a demon inside of her that was making her gay? Hello?
Terrible.
What is wrong with these people? This, like, the way that both of the families go about like trying to get the gay out of both of Ziki and Kenna is so interesting to me, and it's both fucked up, right? But the idea of like, in very different ways. Like, Ziki is forced to move away from everything that she's ever known and loved, just so that she can stay away from someone that she feels attracted to and someone that she likes. And for being who she is, she needs to separate herself from her family, unfortunately. And Kenna needs to go through needs to stay and needs to survive all of the homophobia and like get bashed by the community and get told that there's a demon inside her, that there's something wrong with her, and that she is fundamentally like demonic, which is like so fucked up.
Well, that also doubles back to the idea that everyone pretty much knows that Kenna's a lesbian, right? These people think that she's a lesbian. So because of that, when they see this traditionally feminine girl and this traditionally this presenting girl in a relationship, they assume that because Kenna's a lesbian, she must be turning Zeke.
Yeah, because she's the most masculine looking or whatever. Yeah,
she's the corrupting influence. Getting Zeke out of the situation and performing an exorcism on Kenna, that'll do it.
It's always the one that follows the least like feminine beauty standards or mask, like in whatever side, whatever. Like the person that is performing their assigned gender, the worst. You know what I mean? Like that they get blamed. They are the corruptor. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I would also, I would also like to talk about a very small scene that we do get after the exorcism, which is when Kenna is sitting all alone. She's sitting all alone, all by herself. No one's paying her any attention. Everyone has turned against her. And then the one gay dude that we have been following, like that has been appearing in several scenes throughout this movie, just comes to her and quietly just sits down next to her in support. I loved that scene.
And doesn't say anything. He just like sits.
He doesn't say anything. He just quietly sits there and just stays there to let like Kenna cry next to him. And that to me just means a lot, because not only is that like queer supporting other queer people in a time of need, but it's also like the final definitive nail in the coffin of Kenna standing in her society of, I am now part of the outsiders. I am no longer seen as equal to the others. Now I am forced to stay with the other people that are also outsiders like this guy. So it sucks, but at the same time, it is nice to see that even when everyone has turned her back against her, there is this silent support that she will always have no matter what. So I really, really love that scene. It might have been my favorite scene. And there was no dialogue in it. It's very short. It's very small. No dialogue at all. But it's still like, it felt like it was necessary at a time of really dark moments. There is someone that is always going to have your back no matter what.
Yeah, I thought that scene was really good too. And one that I really enjoyed was with her dad as well. Like when, like, because we had two different reactions, right? Like her mom was trying to do the exorcism, all of that. And then Zeke's parents, whatever. But the one person, like Kenna's dad, even when he picked her up at the police station, whatever, like was supportive throughout the whole thing. And even though we never know why it's so important for him to run the campaign, when he sees that he kind of has to like choose between one like that or supporting his daughter, he chooses supporting his daughter. And I'm like, yes, yes.
Shout out to John.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that I wanted to quickly go back to that I'm kind of thinking about now is like Zeke was the one that was like, oh, you need to open up, like we can be together publicly, whatever. Like she was like forcing, and she was making Kenna feel bad for like not wanting to express in public or whatever. Like she's the one that kind of wanted to be more free, right?
Yeah.
And then Kenna was like holding back or being more realistic, I would say, for their reality. And then when they get caught and they kind of are living what Zeke wanted them to do, like they were doing that, and they get caught, she's the one that changes her mind because she was like, let's run and let's move together, whatever, like you be a doctor or whatever, let's live together, let's escape together. And then they get caught, and then she changes her mind, and Kenna is still like, because Kenna goes back to her house and is like, I think she kind of wanted to check back and see like, so what are we gonna do? Like what now, right? But it seemed, at least, we don't really know, they don't make it 100% clear, but to me it seemed that she still wanted to go through with that. And she still wanted them, because even Zeke asked like, what were we gonna do? Like get married and have kids together? And she was like, yeah. And you can see that Ziki was not expecting her to say that, and that made it even worse. Because like you can see that she was lying, that like, oh, I've always wanted to travel, so like it's a good thing that I'm going to London. She was like lying.
Yeah.
And then when Kenna left, she asked her mom, like, please, mommy, can I stay? Like, and she said, I just want my life to go back to normal. And so it's kind of like, I don't know. I think it's interesting that they kind of switch perspectives. I don't know. I just think it's really interesting how they both react to kind of similar treatment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to fault Ziki for that, for just wanting to give up on this.
It's dramatic. It's people react.
Yeah,
differently.
it's self-preservation.
It's just sad, is all. But yeah,
survival.
Yeah. And I did a couple of things that were mentioned a while ago that I wanted to address. So one of my favorite things, you were talking about the dad's reaction when he's like, why are our daughters in jail and not the people who beat them up? It was like, yes, preach, dad.
The correct question to ask. Thank you.
But also going back to the queer man that we saw, it's funny that you mentioned him because as we saw him throughout, I think the most frustrating characters of the whole film for me were actually Blacksta and Wereri. Not only their treatment of this guy throughout the film, especially Wereri, but when things really went south for Kenna, these two assholes, we saw Wereri there with the mob, just standing there, just watching her as she's getting beat up, not doing a thing to help his friend. And then afterwards, we hear Blacksta making it about him. He's like, why are you hurting the one person who's always been here for you? This isn't about you, dude. She's not hurting you.
And then he's like, oh, you will see for yourself the kind of guy I am. An asshole? Boy, bye.
Right.
Kenna, you need better friends. You need better friends, Kenna.
Because he was the one that cared about her the most until she said no. Okay.
Typical man behavior.
Thank you.
So I want to go ahead and say my biggest problem with this movie, and it's a very unfair problem to have, and I want to acknowledge before anyone responds to this criticism, yes, this is an unfair critique. I want that to be acknowledged, hands down, before anyone says anything else, okay? So, how many of you have seen the music video for the song Take Me to Church by Hozier? Okay. Now, Eduardo, do you know the similarity? Are you noting the similarities between that music video and this movie?
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah. So then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, noting that music video, which is like a 5-minute video, I think, like not even, it's like the length of the song, which is like 4 or 5 minutes, versus that movie. Which of those two things do I find to be more impactful in like usage of their storytelling of a very similar story, right? Now I will admit, I do love that song. So, and I have listened to it for over a decade. There is implicit bias there. I want that to be addressed now, right? I honestly, it takes away from my connection to this movie and like my ability to appreciate it as much. And again, like I said, it's not fair. It's really not.
I'm just confused. Like, can you explain? Because it feels like you're beating around the bush with
that music video is basically it's two gay men in a relationship. One of them gets found out and gets the shit kicked out of him by a mob of people, which is a remarkably similar storyline to this film. And now granted, they don't have as much time to like establish the relationship, but there's a lot of similarities between the two things. And I love the song. So again, there is that bias there implicitly of what's going on here. It's just, it was very hard for me to not think, oh, this reminds me a lot of that music video. Oh, this reminds me a lot of that. Like, just as it's the same thing we do with other movies too. Like, whenever we see a plot point that reminds us of something, like we were just mentioning, the two dads running against each other, red, white, and royal blue. Like we made a joke about it, but there is a little bit of something there. And because of that, it was harder for me to connect to this because I was thinking about how much another thing that had done very similar things did it better to me, with less time, with no dialogue. And again, it's not fair. It's really not fair. It's just how I feel about what I watched. And as much as I wish it wasn't the case, it's just how I feel. I can't really change that. Because there are things in this movie that do work, and there are things in this movie that I really do like. And I think that it is definitely important, and it's telling a story that needs to be told. Mm-hmm. It's just not told as well as that music video, and it bothers me that that's the critique I have of this movie. I wish I could be a little bit more specific than that, because it's kind of hard to explain. But that's just how I feel, unfortunately. That's pretty much it. I don't really feel the need to keep rambling.
I did want to say, because I did have a lot of I didn't enjoy this movie as much as I was expecting. I still enjoyed parts of it, but what I do want to say is that it's beautifully shot. The set design and the costume design is like really pretty and with rich and bright colors. Like it's a very beautiful movie visually, even. And I don't mean like when they're doing like the terrible scenes, but like when we're having the happy moments, and like you mentioned the montage, like in the neon scene, like a lot of beautiful shots. My biggest problem is me not feeling enough of a connection and interest in the characters, and feeling a little bit disengaged. But I still think so. Like the romance part didn't work as well for me. But I think it does a very good job at touching on the themes of homophobia and how it looks, how people react differently to it, whether they are the homophobes or the people that are, suffering from the homophobia. So I think that part of the movie, they do a very good job. But I've said my issues, but like that's the part that works. Everything else kind of lacking.
Okay. That's fair.
That's fair. Can we talk a little bit about the reception of this film in Kenya?
Sure.
I don't know if any of you have looked into it.
Oh, that it was like banned
I definitely did.
or censored or something.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because you would think that a movie made in Kenya would be something that they would show in Kenya. But no, this got banned in Kenya on its just as it was getting released. They have a similar system to like the NPA in the US, and the film got banned because it said to direct quote, due to its homosexual theme and clear intent to promote lesbianism in Kenya contrary to the law. So it was outright banned. They asked them to change the ending because they said it was too positive, and they didn't do it, and they said no. So then the ban happened. And then they did manage to get the ban removed for 7 days so they could screen it and have a possibility of it being Kenya's entry for the Oscars for International Feature Film, which they did happen. It was extremely successful in that 7-day window, by the way. And then it was ultimately not chosen as the entry over a movie called Supermoto, which I have not watched. Have you seen it, David?
I have not.
Yeah, okay. I mean, again, no shade to that movie. It's just what happened. So it got lifted. It was sold out cinemas when that ban was lifted, though. It was doing crazy good number. And then the ban is currently still in effect as far as I can tell outside of that 7-day window. So it's really, I don't even know what the right word is here. I mean, it is a little bit interesting, but it's also just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Like,
because I mean, we talk about here in the U.S. and I mean, I'm assuming both of your countries too. We've discussed it before. We want more queer representation. They are probably starving for it in Kenya. Yeah. They have to be. And again, it's just that like the ethnocentric view of the world of, oh, well, my experience is everyone's experience. It's really not, right? Like we are all four of us are incredibly privileged to live in the countries that we do when it comes to being queer. Let's just be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as it is definitely hard, and it's not easy, honestly, really anywhere. Like, we are living in good places to be gay compared to Kenya. You know,
and also time, not just place, but time.
And time too
as well.
So it's just really unfortunate to see that be the case, because I mean, very clearly during that window of time, people wanted to see this movie, and I mean, they did go see this movie. So I hope that in the future things can change for not just the people in Kenya, but for everywhere that has these similar issues going on. I will say it's been screened at a ton of different film festivals as well. So like it's not had a lack of eyeballs on it, period. There are people that have seen it. Most recently, it was at the 2024 Vancouver International Film Festival. So like it's still going out to places and people are still seeing it. But I can't imagine how much this would mean to, you know, a gay person in Kenya. I like, how much would this mean to them? I remember how much watching Love, Simon meant to me when I was, you know, 17, 18 years old and seeing, you know, a movie about a gay teenager for the first time, right? I have to and that was just like a movie that happened, and this was after gay marriage was already legal in the US. So I have to wonder how much this movie would have meant to those people.
Yeah,
it came out the same year, actually.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh. And that's one of the things that you said, that even though I have my problems with the film and for my personal enjoyment, like it's still super important that it got made in the first place, and that it exists, you know. So
yeah, it sucks. This is not the first Kenyan or African movie that I've seen that gets banned in its own country just because it has queer stuff in it. It just sucks that we live in a world in which that's still happening. But like you said, River, the fact that this movie was even made is a marvel in and of itself. And I give the writers, the producers, the actors, the directors huge props for this, because it must not have been easy to create a movie this queer in a place where that queerness is just seen as evil. So the fact, as like we've said, the fact that this movie was even made is a miracle. So I'm very happy that this movie exists.
Me too.
Well, yes.
Well, everybody, it seems like we're at a good place. Does anyone have anything else they would like to add before we get to scores?
I've said my piece.
Thank you. All right, David, I know we technically said this was a group choice, but it was your March Madness bracket, so I'll let you go first. We'll just go clockwise.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. So it's been 5.5 years since I've seen this. This is only my second time seeing it, and I really love this on first viewing. I gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd when I first watched this, and so I was excited for everybody to watch it. And I will admit, when I rewatched it, I'm like, this didn't live up to my memory of it. Like, I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. I rooted for them strongly. But with such a short runtime, especially, it's hard to fit a lot of plot in there. And it felt like the plot was a little bit thin. It was a little bit paint by numbers. So I still really enjoyed it, just not as much as I was hoping to. Initially, I still gave it a 4.5, but the more I sat on it today, I was like, I'm not being honest with myself. I'm living in this idealistic.
Like, I don't want to admit that I changed my mind.
Yes, but I did change my mind, and I changed my score, so I give it a 4, a very strong 4.
Fair.
Nice.
Yeah, I was excited to watch this. Wasn't entirely what I expected, but that's not always necessarily a bad thing. I don't think this movie's bad by any means. I think it has a lot of merit to it. I love how important this film is to a group of people, to an area of the world. But I cannot help but make unfair comparisons to other arts, and I know it's not fair. It's not fair, but it does tamper my enjoyment.
No one can live up to Hosea, Brooke. How dare you?
there are plenty of movies that have. And this is just for me. The beats are so similar. I'm so sorry. And like David said, that's not my only problem. Yeah, it's really short, which isn't always a bad thing. But when we have the plot not really get developed in that less than 90-minute runtime, it can feel really thin. I think you could have made this into like a really good 30-minute short film, and I think it might have actually been better because you're cutting out some of the fluff instead of making it a longer film. Maybe that's just me. But for me, I ended up giving it a 3, and I think that's about the best I can do here.
Yeah, like I said, I think this movie is really important. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's made. I respect it more than I enjoy it. But I still enjoyed it, enough. I didn't love it, but I didn't think it was also unenjoyable. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a bad watch. It was just, I was kind of meh. I more respect it than enjoy. So I also gave it a 3.
Fair enough. Yeah, and Eduardo.
Yeah, I think this movie is very important that it was simply made at all. I did root for these characters. I am a Kenna ex Ziki shipper. I do like the relationship, and I will be going on to AO3 to see if there's more fanfics about them. Anyways, but yeah, I like a lot about this movie, but I do agree that with a less than 90-minute runtime, we go through things super quickly, and it's super thin. So that there's some slight problems here, but nothing big enough for me to dislike it. I still like this movie, so I still give it a 4 out of 5.
Yay. Nice. Well, that's our thoughts on Rafiki today. So thank you so much for joining us to talk about it. David, thank you so much for bringing this movie to our attention, at least. Yeah. And it's at least, at the very least, it's an interesting look into a part of the world that we don't normally get to see in movies even. So I'm happy that we got to look at it today.
I'm glad I watched it.
But next week, how we mentioned that we wanted more.
Oh, no.
It ain't happening next week. I can tell you that much.
No.
So next week, this is my choice for the month. I thought we were going to have more joy this month. And as such, I thought it could be a good idea to maybe have a more serious movie. And in retrospect, maybe that was a little idealistic, but here we are. So I wanted to pick a movie that I thought was, important to recognize not just queer experiences, but queer pioneers, queer activists, important people in queer history. And as such, I wanted to talk about the first openly gay man to be elected in California, that, of course, being Harvey Milk, meaning we're covering Milk from 2008, starring Sean Penn, Emile Hirsch, Josh Brolin, Diego Luna, and James Franco. And I just I think it's important to talk about queer history and, be educated, because if you're not, then you're going to think that people died at Stonewall. And that's just where we're at.
Wait, no one died.
No one died?
No one died at Stonewall. Love you, Derek. Big fan. So next week we're talking about Milk, and our last movie for Pride Month coverage. And then we're getting to our new month, which I will just say one of our panelists is very excited about. Spoiler alert, it's the one who's currently fanning themselves. If you haven't connected
You mentioned me and I got hot. I can't help it.
Yeah.
If you haven't connected the dots yet, July is River's birthday month. So be excited for River Month on the podcast.
Yeah.
With, I'll be honest, a collection of films that could not be made by anyone other than River.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
The first one we're talking about, I'm like, yeah, River would pick this, and Eduardo would pick this. But then I look down and I'm like, interesting. And that's just kind of how I feel about the whole list. But yeah, let us know down below. Have you seen Rafiki? If not, it's out there. I believe it's rentable on YouTube. Let me see. where to.
It is on Streamio, if you know, you know.
Yeah, so it is rentable on YouTube. It's also on Amazon Prime Video with the subscription. So if you want to watch this movie, it's anywhere you can rent a movie in the US. It's available digitally. So there you go. But yeah, let us know what you think about it. If you've seen it, if you've not seen it, go watch it. Even if you don't love it, it's still a movie that I think a lot of people would like. So go watch it. Have a good time. And join us next week as we talk about milk. But unfortunately, here today, we have ran out of popcorn, drank our entire soft drink, as you can see. And no one ever eats more than one soft pretzel. So we are going to get out of here, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.